Hello and welcome to the Westcity Church podcast. If you'd like to get to know us more, find us at westcitychurch.com.au. We really hope that you're encouraged by today's message.
So here I am today talking about pilgrimage. And in simple terms, the word pilgrimage just means to intentionally walk or journey with Jesus. The whole idea is that we're transformed when we do it. If you're a parent here today, one of the highlights of parenting, especially one of the early highlights, is when your kid starts to walk. You know, they go through those stages, don't they? First they do the commando, and then they do this one. I don't know if your kids do. I call it the bum drag. I said to Caroline, I think Abby's got worms. And she said, no, it's just normal, because my dog does that, and it's usually because it has worms. So they do the bum drag, and then sometimes they do the spider, which is kind of a weird. And then eventually they kind of find their legs. And look, if you're lucky enough as a parent, you get to see them walk. Abby, my daughter, was 10 years old before I realized she could walk. But some of you may have been there at that moment, and the moment they're holding on to that, coffee table, and you're there, maybe, a few meters or a meter away, depends on how sadistic you are. You might be 10 meters away. And then you're calling them, you say, come on, you can do it. And then they take those weird steps. I think the reason they have so much trouble to walking is because their heads are so huge. You notice kids, they're all top heavy and they sort of stagger. And, it is a source of celebration. It should be. The reason we celebrate and we cheer that moment is because, firstly, it's a sign of growing up, right? It's a sign of health. I mean, imagine being 30 and still doing the bum drag. Like, it's weird, right? So we're actually going, wow, we're celebrating you growing up. And the whole thing about going on pilgrimage, walking with Jesus, taking a journey with Jesus, the reason we're focusing on that for the next 2 years is because we want to grow up in Jesus. We want to get healthy. We think it's a part of being healthy people walking with Jesus. The other thing I think we cheer about when our little one takes his first or her first steps is that they've literally trusted you, haven't they? You actually are like, come on, I'll catch you, I'll be here. And they do the stagger. And, if they fall, you grab them, hopefully. Once I was changing Sarah on the change table while Caroline was out, and I bent down to pick up a nappy, and Sarah rolled off the change table on my back and landed on the floor. I didn't tell Caroline for years. Fortunately, she didn't have any early learning issues or anything like that, so it was all good. I told her a few years later. But it's like that, our kids trust and they jump out. And again, this is the idea of pilgrimage. We trust Jesus when he says, come and walk with me. And we trust that, one, he knows the way. Number two, he'll hold us well. And three, he'll walk with us every step of the way. That's another sign. Now, some of you might be here and you might be saying, it's a bit weird. We're becoming Catholics, pilgrimage. We're going to join a monastery next, are we? Yes, no. You know what? Every one of you have taken a pilgrimage already. It's more normal than you think. I was thinking about this because it's not new to us, and yet we think it is this morning when I'm talking about it, but it's not. How many of you, I'm going to see some hands here, how many of you here have retrained to pursue a new career? Give me a wave. Pilgrimage. You've gone on pilgrimage. Pilgrimage is leaving where you're at in order to go somewhere that's new. Pilgrimage. How many of you have moved from being single, either happy or sad, to getting a girlfriend or boyfriend or getting married? Give me a wave. Pilgrimage. You've gone on pilgrimage. How many of you have embarked on starting a family or are about to? Give me a wave. Yeah, pilgrimage. Leaving one state of being to start on another. Now, pilgrimage, how many have started a new school? Give me a wave. Yeah, cool. or uni, started a new business? Give me a wave. I see all those hands. Every one of those things is kind of a pilgrimage. So the idea of journeying is really deeply embedded already in you already. I know I said already 3 times, but already. And some pilgrimages are for a short time, and some pilgrimages are for a lifetime. Some turn out well, some are absolute disasters. Now, often when, like myself, and we get up and we say, hey, we want to go for a journey, we want to hear Jesus' call and go for a walk with him, an intentional walk. There's lots of questions arise. You have questions like, what will I learn from this? If I actually take this journey, what will I learn? How will it affect me? And the big one, I think, is what will it cost? These are all valid questions. And I'm sure that they were the same questions the disciples had when Jesus called them in the Gospel of Matthew. And fortunately, Jesus answers some of those big questions that may be buzzing around in our head today. And I want to look at that passage and hear what he says. Because remember, it's him who's inviting us, that we go for a walk with him and that we're transformed in the journey. It's in Matthew 4:19-20. It's really simple, and you can remember this throughout the year as a beautiful framework of some of those answers. What will happen to me? What will be changed in my life? What will it cost? And so Jesus actually calls the disciples and he says these words. He says, hey, I don't know if he says that, but I'm saying it. Hey, follow me and I will make you fishers of men. And it says they immediately got up and followed him. Nice, simple verse, hey? But in it, there's this beautiful answer to some of those questions about taking the journey with Jesus. The first one is the follow me bit. It's the whole idea of leaving where you're at in order to go somewhere else. Now, I think the thing that is important about that is, and that's why we say following Jesus or pilgrimage is about intentionally following him, because Jesus said, hey, I want you to leave where you're at. It's the idea of leaving so that you can come and be with me. I think one of the big reasons Jesus asks us to leave stuff is because it makes room in our life for the new stuff that he wants to work as we take the walk with him. It actually says in the Bible, you're God's workmanship created in Christ Jesus. In other words, God wants to work in you and on you. And it says, for good works is an outcome of that. About 6 months ago, I took on this challenge. It was called the 21-day challenge. It was given to me by a guy called Strong Tom. Imagine being called Strong Tom. He's this big, burly owner of Plus Fitness down in Subiaco. I love him. His hugs are it's like meeting a chiropractor with a boa constrictor. You sort of walk away all like readjusted and broken at the same time. He's massive. He said, boys, here's the challenge. There's a bunch of things we had to do for 21 days. One of them was walk every day. Walk every day. And we had a little group that would meet up once a week when we went into the gym there to get weighed and stuff to say, have you walked every day? Can I tell you, walking for me meant I had to leave. I had to leave my bed earlier than I normally do each morning. I had to leave when it was raining and when it was hot. I wasn't making excuses. Too hot today. I had to just leave. Didn't matter what the weather was doing. I had to leave my house and I had to go walking. The disciples had to leave stuff too, and we will if we're going to take the pilgrimage. Imagine, I said, did you retrain in order to do something else in your career? Imagine you say, I will still do this and retrain and do 2 separate careers all at once. Now, some of you may do that, and if you do, my hat off to you. But for others of us, we know our lives would be too full unless we left that to retraining in order to do this. And that's the call of Jesus. Jesus didn't say, stay there, keep fishing, and somehow, magically, I'll wave a wand, and you will be transformed by me. He said, no, you've got to leave. And it's part of pilgrimage. It can be exciting, it can be frightening. It can be brilliant and it can be terrifying, the idea of leaving, but it's still part of pilgrimage. The second thing is he says, and I will make you. I will make you. That's learning and discovering about God and yourself. Learning and discovering about God and yourself. Because in the journey, you do both. I told you I was on this 21-day challenge, right? I discovered a whole bunch of stuff about myself. I discovered my propensity to self-sabotage straight away. Anyone else discovered that? Seriously, I would literally, like I said, I'd be like, I'll get cancer if I go out today. The UV's at 11, I'm sure. It was like 5 in the morning. I'd be like, we had to tell everyone, did you walk every day? And that was what kept me going some days, But it's raining. It was June, middle of June. And I was like, I even toyed with the idea of getting, just from Bunnings, a block of wood. So that when they said, did you walk today? I say, yeah, every day I walked around the block. I really did. I thought, I'm telling the truth. I just literally, each morning, go back to sleep. Self-sabotage is a big thing. I discovered my limitations. I can't run, partly because I'm 14 meters tall, like a big giraffe. And secondly, because I used to be a floor layer for about a decade, and I've smashed my knees in doing this all day and being on them. When I walk, I could never be in the special forces. I click when I walk. Imagine me trying to sneak up on someone. It'd be like, click, click, click. Don't worry about even the twigs. It's just my knees, right? So I can't run. I just walk. And when I started doing this thing, I was just walking. I was pathetic, But I've discovered something. I used to think limitations were like a concrete wall. I think for me, a lot of my limitations were more like hedges that I could push my way through. They were still there. And I'm sure the disciples did too. The disciples, when Jesus said, I will teach you, or I will make you, they learned the beauty of walking with God. And, like Peter, when Jesus said, who do you say I am? And Peter's like, all of a sudden he has this epiphany and he says, yes, Peter, thank you, Jesus. You are the Christ, the Son of the living God. And Jesus says, flesh and blood hasn't revealed this to you. This is a prophetic kind of understanding. It's beautiful. Peter's like, yeah. And then later on, Peter says, Jesus says, I'm going to have to die as the Messiah. I'm going to go to the cross. I'm going to die. And Peter pulls him aside. Oh, Lord, you can't do that. I won't let you. And Jesus says to him, get behind me, Satan. He discovered the limitations and the propensity he had to miss the plot altogether. This is part of pilgrimage. I said I was walking, but I've also discovered beautiful things as well. To actually go walking in the morning as the world is waking up and just hear the birds and just see the sun come over the horizon. Beautiful. I've actually sometimes got into a Zen type guru state, just walking. It's beautiful. I've never stopped after the 21 days. Been doing it ever since. And according to Apple, I walk 42 Ks on average every week now. I love it. But it was a journey that started to reveal stuff, discover stuff. I discovered stuff about myself. And I've even discovered stuff about God. And that's the same Jesus said for the disciples. You'll discover your purpose. You'll discover your gifts. You'll discover how you can miss the plot. It's okay. It's all good. Let's go on that discovery together. So he said, I'll make you. And then finally he says, fishers of men. I love that. These are already fishermen But then he kind of repurposed them to say, I want your world now to get larger to include people. That blessing that is coming on you as you walk with me will actually roll out to other people. It's very similar of a story reading Genesis about Abraham. Hey, Abraham, go for a walk with me. And have a guess what? I'll bless you, and I'll make a nation of you and bless them. And all the people of the world will be blessed. I love that. Pilgrimage. He says, I'll make you fishers of men. And I'd like to suggest that as you practice pilgrimage this year, you too will find that not only are you transformed, and you see some bits about yourself that you go, oh, that's interesting, but that others will be blessed as well. Fishers of men. I want my world to get bigger. I don't know about you. I want to be a larger person. Not physically, I'm trying to get smaller, but a larger person in other ways. And this is the thing about pilgrimage. Now, it's at this point that some of you will be sat here and you'll be, because what I want to do is I want to give you some practicalities of what pilgrimage could look like this year for you. And as I was saying, at this point, some of you might sit here and say, who are you to tell me what to do? Good question. Here's my answer to that. Number one, I'm nobody. But I want you to know that every important journey in my life that I've made is because someone else challenged me to do it. Secondly, second point, who are you, Phil? Why are you telling us what to do? I would say, I'm actually not telling you. This is actually the invite of Jesus. He says, hey, come walk with me. Come pilgrimage with me. Come journey with me. It's his invite. And I'm just sharing the message. So don't shoot the messenger. Because I'm going to do this. I want to do this. We all do it. We've all been doing it. So I'm going to give you some practicalities because I think that's important. You can hear a message. And I hope today it's been informative and inspirational. But I do think, Caroline always says to me every week, yeah, but where does it land? So here's some practical suggestions. Maybe you could do one or more of the following this year. Remember, I said you had to leave some stuff in order to start some new stuff. I understand there might be rejigging. I've never heard rejigging for a while. Here are, maybe it's join the spiritual book club. That's just once a month. You read, what a beautiful book, This Sacred Journey. Want to know more about pilgrimage? Let's get into the book. And cheers, and we're not going to unpack it in a way that it's going to be like a to-do list. This is about places of grace. How do we grow? How do we walk with Jesus? It's going to be beautiful. So maybe that. Or maybe join the spiritual workshops. And the only reason they're called spiritual workshops is because we're just going to learn about different practices that maybe will help us on the journey. Again, it's like the 21-day walk. I had to do it. And I love doing it now. That's once a term. Sign up for it. Maybe it's going to the spiritual retreat. Ooh. There's only one of them a year, plus about 400 other camps we're doing, but one of them. Maybe it's join a home church or connect group and walk with others as you walk with Jesus. Like I said, one or more. Some of you might go, I will do the lot. If you do, I'd say, get ready for a breakdown. But here we go. The other is maybe get involved in serving and supporting in the Westcity community. I'm serious. These are absolutely part of the journey of following Jesus. Or maybe serving somewhere else as well. But we would love it if you serve here. Or, if you're super keen, maybe pop in at 7 o'clock. once or more a week. Every morning we have prayer on Zoom, so you don't even have to travel. Just put the background like you're out in nature, but you're actually just sat in your bed with a cup of tea. And we just have a time of prayer. We meet at the beginning and then just turn our cameras off and spend time with Jesus. Do a little Devo and someone prays at the end. It's just a beautiful space, like the 21-day challenge for me where there's other people meeting and I get to join it. You can, with all these things, jump in or jump out whenever you want. This is not a to-do list. This is a journey. And the whole idea is that we encounter Jesus and he transforms us. I always like to ask this question about not just you as individuals, but us all, And it's like, what would our church look like if we all decided to go on pilgrimage this year? Whatever that looks like for you. What would it look like? We'd have to leave some stuff, that's for sure. What do you need to leave? I'm not sure. We'd learn some stuff. We'd discover stuff about God and ourselves. But I think our worlds would actually get larger. That's what I think would happen. Because when one person does it or two, it's nice. But when a group, a community say, hey, let's go follow Jesus together, there's something actually really synergetic and beautiful that takes place. That's why that passage says, how good is it where people dwell in unity? There's some sort of blessing that comes. And I just think, what could it look like? I'll tell you what would happen. Our worlds, I'm sure, would get bigger and others would get blessed. I think our families would get blessed. I think our community would be blessed. But also, I think our enemies will be blessed. And I think strangers will be blessed. And I think those who are being told they're on the outside, like Joey said today, will be blessed. And they will maybe hear the invite from us to say, hey, come and follow Jesus as we follow him. This is an adventure. Jesus wants us to journey with him. So let's get walking. Let's get walking.
How good was that message? Thank you so much for joining us. Each week at Westcity, we say a benediction together. We do this because we believe that the purpose of the church is to be a caring community for the world, and that as we go and serve others, we enter into Christ's work of welcome, restoration and healing, both for us and others. We believe that in doing so, we get to see and encounter Christ. So let's say the benediction together. We come together as the church to be reminded of the go of Christ. So we will go out and feed the hungry, go out and clothe the naked, go out and fight for justice, go out and end oppression, go out and proclaim anew the old story, go out and associate with those who don't look like us, think like us, act like us, and don't even like us. And we'll do it all in the name of the one who sent us. His name is Jesus.